2936 Lake Drive. Mr. Webb, y'all did ask some questions for Parks and Wets Committee. I have checked in also with the City of Mobile, the Parks and Wets Division. Meters are average at those parks is 2-inch meters. They, Water Board states that it's minimal use. They get paid basically for having a meter out there. For example, the park at Mobile Terrace gets used a good bit. Restrooms get used more. The water bill is 3-4 times more because it is in a resident neighborhood and people further use that restroom than their own daily. There is drug use in that neighborhood. Parks have to go clean up needles and other artifacts out of that park, and it's very visible. So that is been stated to me, in fact, that is a trouble park because it is in the neighborhood and it does get used warmly. And it's a $500,000 park, by the way, not including the restrooms, would not include that price tag. The one at Sills Park, Texas Street, it's a brand new one. It's just water feature coming out of the park. The restrooms are inside the community center. There is walkable trails too from the neighborhoods that's close, pretty close by, but it's not really in the neighborhood. Most people drive to it. There is one downtown that's considered as a splash pad at Clacton Square, and that's nowhere near. You have to actually walk there. Very little parking. The other one is on St. Stephen's Road, Lakeside, Trinity Gardens, whatever you want to call it. The park's got 7 names. They state that is the most used park in neighborhoods people drive to it. And the restrooms do get used more, I believe they said more than the actual park, but it's about the same because it's not in a neighborhood. So you got one park in the neighborhood, one close to a neighborhood, 2 that's not, near neighborhoods. Those are the 4 parks in the city of Mobile. And I do agree with you on the Trinity Gardens. That is, one of the reasons the people wanted it is because of the blight in the area. Paved ditch, paved streets. That's why they took that area over, and they was offered a $500,000 park, plus all the amenities that's no longer, given to them. The park rec committee has 2 parks they have put, with flash pads. One is, we've tried to get y'all to, come forward with a letter of recommendation to try to rent, buy, lease the, facility at the school system. We've had a diagram completely, spelled out, putting a splash pad, dog pile, parks, redoing baseball field / soccer field, football field out there at the school board off of Brook Road. Y'all said y'all don't want to buy no more properties or even lease. So we went with the latter of the other park that we had, for a splash pad on this side. This side of town does not have any parks on it for the citizens. We got the same problems off around Lock Road and stuff, and we do have land up there also we could put stuff at. So Snow Road does have parks around it. It's closest to the high school and everything. I, like the idea, but there is other parks that's close by. If I were my recommendation, put them off there in the north section, or here in Morris Hill would be my 2 recommendations. We do have plans, like I said, on Brook Road to span, and that would be around the corner from the Snow Road location if we did go that way.
You have 1 minute.
Thank you, ma'am. I mean, there's several good reasons on Morris Hill. If you put a sewer line down it, economic development, places will develop. You're improving the services for that area. So you can get business to go down there. The businesses on Snow Road, traffic coming from off of Morris Hill. You can, it will grow that area even more because people are coming to that park. You will get businesses, neighborhoods, start growing in that area. There's plenty of land to develop in that area. Smith, you could walk to this park. I could walk from your house to that park, 20-30 minutes. Because it taxes Ward's Lane. I don't have to go down Soldiers Road to get to it from your neighborhood or from other neighborhoods on Ward's Lane. There's a neighborhood right when you go on to Morris Hill, over a dozen houses. So,
Your time's up.
thank you, ma'am. There's plenty of benefits for developing in that neighborhood, or the parts where we own, land, or we could go after the school property with a letter of intent. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Bright.
Thank you, Brian.
Comments, Mr. Baker?
No, I think listening to Tony is good. He has experience in these matters, and I think from listening to Tony, he's somewhat flexible as being someone who is out and about all day long. He's an inspector for the city of Mobile, and he sees different areas, but he too understands that there may be a need to be somewhat flexible on the location of this. I think that's a good thing.
Okay, Mr. Smith?
Tony, you're right. My house is located closer to that park than most other people in the whole area.
So it's mine.
But I'm not here to work for my personal advantage. I would like to see something that's for the whole community, something that the community as a whole can have good, safe access to. So we do need to go more toward what should be the center of our city, and where people can come from various directions.
And that'd be the
all
school
to
board
that
property.
area. And so it's not for my advantage, it's for everybody's advantage that I'm here to work.
That's what we're here, is to work for the community.
Mr. Webb?
No comment.
Ms. Franson?
No comment.
Mr. Shirey?
My question is to Mr. Ebright. How do you get from Ward's Lane to Morris Hill? You have to go down Cylinders. There is no road through.
The park taxes to Ward's Lane.
The what?
It's about a 30-foot strip that goes off to Ward's
There is not
Lane.
a road from Morris Hill.
There's a
to
trail.
Ward's Lane.
I've walked it.
Huh?
I've walked down that trail. There's a trail, and it can be easily accessed by a sidewalk or something.
All right.
Because
I
I've
know
walked
we're
it out
not
there
right
with the,
We can put a road there, but right
we
now-
could put a road, we could put a sidewalk.
Bike
It's
trail.
right now, it is a
Yeah.
wooded trail, and I've walked it with the guys for the Frisgosby, thing. So there is a trail and it's very walkable. I've walked it.
Okay. I want to say something about the location. Everything that we have as far as our parks are all located on the western side of town. If you look at the density of our city residents, we are way off kilter on where we're putting our parks at. Now, if you look at the population and the density of our community, I think we're doing pretty good, but we really do need to have some parks on this side of town for the people over here. I think it's important to have a park, in my opinion, that would be easily accessible to some of these major roads like the 5-lane that Schillinger is going to be. The Schillinger and Moffett Road intersection, lots of businesses up there, lots of opportunity for people, if they did come and use a splash pad, to actually spend money here and generate revenue for the city. I think that's important. Not just, you can't put this thing in a pocket park in the middle of a neighborhood where there's no parking, number one. If you have 50 families show up to play at the splash pad in your neighborhood and they park up and down your streets, you're not going to be very happy. That would be more like maybe a PUD that has these amenities like a splash pad for their residents. If you put it in a neighborhood, and that wouldn't be really the city's responsibility, that would be the developer's responsibility. So I think you need to have a place where you'll have ample parking, very accessible for our citizens, the people in our community, and other people coming here to spend money and bring their kids here. So, let's see. I guess that's the biggest thing that I wanted to say about that. I just really believe it needs to be in a different location other than everything being on the western part of our city limits. We need to focus and, be a little bit more diverse and where we're putting all these parks at. They don't need to be all in one place, so.
Some help.
Good evening, Tim Hale, 9265 Roberts Lane East in Semmes. I'll say I personally have no strong interest in this. What I do care about is that the council listens to the voice of the people. The voice of the people was presented in the comprehensive plan. The city actually spent, I think probably about ballpark of about $100,000 to develop that comprehensive plan, which came from a grant. One of the reasons the city has all the amenities that we have in front of us today is the hard work from the employees and residents in the city. They have worked to put together these grants and justify these grants and do the work themselves rather than contract it out. I mentioned the other night, I think I saw Jason Franklin here, he's here, works very hard in our community. He and his staff in Public Works to build the parks. It's all done at in-house costs rather than contracting out, including the training center and the park in that area, the part of town. The parks that the city has now. I think the one that's across the street from Semmes First Baptist Church, you know, two or 3 years ago, basically that looked like a mud hole, right? And the one on Illinois Street next to Public Works was a thicket in a lot of woods. And they're both beautiful pieces of property today. So thank you for what you've supported there. And the role of the council is to provide the funding. The role of the mayor is to execute. That's what I've heard tonight, is we want to provide the mayor the ability to just seek funding. And it's nothing more than that. The funding for the younger generation. This council has done a great job at funding everything for the elderly generation in our community. And it's time to step up and do something for the younger generation. Not be biased. We want to make sure that we support everyone in the community. What's that deal on?
Yeah, there was 1 minute.
I personally have looked at parks from Gulf Shores to Prattville. Every park I've visited, require people to drive to. The only way to put anything in a neighborhood, because most of the neighborhoods are either developed or being developed, the only way to do that is going to be to have some kind of a partnership with the developer. Other than that, you're going to have to drive. Every one I've been to had rather large parking areas. Most of them were in areas where there were other businesses in the area, so that that helps drive and promote economic development. If you've got a lot of kids, they're going to need other things. You've got parents, you've got people of all ages. They're going to need to buy gas. They're going to need water. They're going to need drinks. They're going to need snacks. They're going to need food. Especially if it's in the summertime, they're going to go and they would love to stay all day. So providing for those needs is going to drive economic development. And that's how we grow the city. That's the plan to grow the city of Semmes and keep our taxes low. Keep our sales taxes low and no property tax. Just through economic development. Council needs to plan that. Thank you.
Comments? Ms. Bailey?
Thank you.
Ms. Schmidt?
None.
Mr. Webb? Ms. Ransom?
No comment.
Mr. Shirey?
Now,
Okay, throw my 2 cents worth in on this. One of the things that we talked about on economic development is quality of life. One of the things that businesses look at when we're talking, let's say Airbus suppliers, they look at where is a good place for my employees to live. So they're looking at quality of life. That was one of the things that I learned going to this conference one time that was hosted by Mayor Sam Jones. And he emphasized that Mobile needed to look at quality of life because that's what these businesses are from Europe are gonna be coming in to look at. They want their employees to be happy. Quality of life relates to parks, lack of congestion, community events, things for your citizens to do, your schools, lots of different things. So I think us having parks increases the quality of life for our residents, and I think that's very important, so. Okay.
Jason Weaver. Mr. Weaver.